Hi, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Vote for Vermont, where our tagline is Listening Beyond the Soundbites. With me in studio today is Representative David Soucy from Barre Town. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. You certainly have an interesting background about the legislature and how you got there. I said, I like that approach.
It is a little different, that's for sure.
I thought it was great.
I've always enjoyed current events and staying on top of what's happening. And when there was an opportunity to get into politics, I jumped at it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, I want to get started right there. We wanted to talk a little bit about your background, and I have one question to ask you. When you're talking about yourself, how do you get to be tagged a professional golfer?
Yep.
So go ahead.
So now I am considered to be a golf professional. And there's a difference. A professional golfer plays golf for a living. You see them on TV.
Right.
I run country clubs, or have in the past. I competed as well. I played. I tried to make it on the tour back in the day, and played a bunch of mini tour events and state opens. And I found, as good as I was, there were a lot of people who were just as good, if not better.
There you go.
Yeah. So I got real jobs, as my mother would say. But for what I do, you need to pass a player ability test. And just to say that you're good enough to be a professional.
Right.
And so I'm a Class A member of the PGA of America. Oh, it's very official.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I've never taken it up. I do motorcycles, and I always get mad when we go to conferences. They're all out on the golf course. Nobody's riding a motorcycle talking to me about business, so I know I was taking up the wrong sport. But legislatively, you lived in Rutland, and then Kevin Mullen stepped down. How did that come about, Governor
Scott?
Scott.
Yep.
Oh, okay, it was both times Governor Scott.
It was both times Governor Scott. So I was involved in the Rutland Republican Party down there. And when the spot opened, I was one of the three names that the Rutland Party sent up, interviewed with the governor. I actually interviewed for a rep seat first.
Oh.
And Jim Harrison.
Oh, Jim, of course.
Sure, who was awesome. And Jim was working for me, or with me at the time at Greenmount National. I was the general manager, and Jim was helping out, doing whatever we needed. So we both interviewed for the rep seat. They chose Jim, which was a good selection. Jim is solid, and then about 3 weeks later, the Senate seat opened up, and I interviewed with the governor. Had a great time, was there for 18 months or so. And unfortunately I lost in a 6-way primary.
I didn't realize you had run.
I did.
Because I said to Ben Kinsey, I think this is his first time actually doing a campaign.
Well, it will be a full campaign, before it was just the primary.
Yep. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you know, I have to say about Rutland, you got some great people down there. Everybody that's come from Rutland into the State House, you can't beat them. They're great, and they meet, they talk.
Yes.
And they're really got each other's back, which I think is nice.
I agree with you. I thought that was unique too.
Yeah, it is.
We would get together once a week, just to discuss the issues, and I think it was helpful. Both D's and ours.
I always envied them.
Yep.
Every once in a while, I might kind of sneak on by, but it's really, you don't see that anywhere else.
I agree, and I think it's unfortunate, to be honest, because what happens is people don't work together. There's too much adversarial in the State House, and so one of the things that I do is that I will talk to with anybody. I think a good idea is a good idea.
I've said this 100 times on these shows. The best bill is the third bill. Your bill, my bill, and the compromise bill.
Exactly.
It's not like that anymore.
No.
When I served back in the day, it sounds so old, it was just like we all helped each other out. No bill went out of a committee that not everybody had to sign on to it, otherwise it didn't go out on the floor. And you found ways to make everybody happy. Not thrilled maybe, but happy.
Yes.
3/4 of a loaf instead of a whole one. Anyway, so then you moved to this area, Barre Town?
Yep. So I had been dating someone who lived up here, and so I would come into Barre Town. We've been together.
Come on my street once in a while.
Yes, yeah.
In your hot little car.
Yes, exactly. And so I've been coming to Barre and spending a considerable amount of time.
Yep.
That's when I fell in love. So you want to spend as much time as you
Yes,
can there.
absolutely.
And so I moved up to Barre, spent some time in Maine. Unfortunately, I took a job. I was at Country Club of Barre for 1 year.
Yes,
and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
A lot of good people, a great golf course. But I had a brother who had Parkinson's. And the job was in Augusta. My brother lived in Bangor. I have sisters that live in South Portland, so it was right in between both.
Right.
And I really wanted to be there for my brother.
Good for you.
And unfortunately, COVID hit.
Oh, wow.
But that's the reason I left Vermont to go to Maine. And then when the opportunity to move back, I work for the New England PGA now.
Great.
And I run golf tournaments.
Oh,
so I
perfect.
run what's called Pro-Ams, one Pro, 3 Ams. And I also do the Junior Tour.
What fun that is.
Oh, it's
That's great.
just the best.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pictures is of 3 boys, 9, 10 years old, never met each other, okay? And we give medals first, second, and third place. There's
Right.
only 3 of them in their flight, okay? And so I gave them their medals, and they have their arms around each other with smiles that friends for life.
You
And
bet.
I'm like, that is the way that life should be.
You betcha. How sweet.
So that's one of my favorite pictures.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. But then
But then,
Topper.
Topper, yeah.
Step down.
Yes, Topper's wife had some health issues from her
I
prior.
did a show with Topper.
Did you?
Yeah,
he's
because he's
just,
I love Topper.
He's a legend.
Oh,
he
my
is
God.
just so good
Yeah.
in so many ways. So when Topper decided it was best to step down, again, I interviewed with the governor. One of the things that he was concerned with was whoever he chose would be able to be effective immediately.
Right.
And with my
Perfect.
experience in the Senate, that's ultimately, I believe, why he chose me.
Perfect.
And so I was able to do that. I was assigned to Topper's seat in healthcare.
Oh, I was going to ask you that,
Yep.
right? I didn't check. Sorry.
And again, I stay on top of things, but not to the detail that you need to in
Right.
committee. So I immediately started reading and read back testimony and stuff.
Great.
And so I think I was able to make an impact.
Is that the
pretty
committee Ann Donahue was on?
quick. Previously, yes.
Yeah.
Not this past year.
Oh, okay.
She
I
had
know
been moved
they
over.
asked her to move.
They asked her to
Because of her
move.
position on a particular issue.
Yes.
Yes, but she is the only one I know, and if you are one of those, I apologize, that actually reads every bill. Every single bill.
Yes, I do not read in detail every
right.
bill until, I try to get the highlights of them. Some
Yeah.
you don't even get to, so you're almost wasting time.
Right.
But when they come to the floor and we're voting on them, I do
Then you
read
go,
every
go
bill
good.
from there.
I'm waiting
Yeah.
for them to have those instant voting things, then we'll see what people do. Because when I was in the legislature, I was with Ann,
Yep.
representing Berlin, and we were part of Barre City back then. The whole area that got flooded in Barre
Yeah.
City, those people are wonderful, what they had to go through.
Oh,
But anyway, no matter what time I'd call her, she'd be reading a bill.
yep.
So I knew you'd be up. But, so you're back here in healthcare.
Yes.
What were the issues that they were, like fixing healthcare?
Well, again,
Good luck
it's
with
like
that.
fixing education.
Yeah, right.
It's not an easy hoe. Some of the issues we dealt with, one bill in particular was allowing optometrists to perform at the level of their training and education. So any optometrist who's graduated since 2019 has been trained in laser surgery.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
that's
as well as
interesting.
bumps and lumps
Right.
and that kind of stuff. No incisions on the eyeball, nothing to do with the eyeball, but they can do the eyelid and
Mm-hmm.
eyebrows. And it quickly became one of the most contentious bills of the session.
Really?
And it was primarily because ophthalmologists trying to protect their turf.
Well, for sure.
So there are 29 ophthalmologists in the state of Vermont, and 21 of them are in Chittenden County.
Great.
Yeah, and they spent over $120,000 fighting this bill.
Wow.
But, you know, in years past, the AMA, who was also against this bill, they didn't want physician's assistants.
Oh.
They didn't want nurse practitioners.
They're all wonderful.
You know.
They've saved the practice I'm in.
I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, they're great.
So it's very similar to this.
Yeah.
And, you know, here in the rural areas of Vermont, the corners of Vermont, there aren't very many,
Nope.
if there are any ophthalmologists, and it's difficult to get in. We've heard 3, 6, sometimes 9 months
Right.
to get in there. So I, for some reason, volunteered to report the bill on the floor.
Oh, David.
Yes. So as you know, when a bill comes out of committee,
Right.
that's a committee of jurisdiction, someone reports the bill on
Yep.
the floor. And it was contentious on the floor, lots of interrogating the reporter of the
Right.
bill, but ultimately it passed easily.
Oh, really? Good.
You know, because it's another thing, you know, I hate to say it, I love Chittenden County, don't get me wrong, okay? But there is Chittenden County and then there's the rest of us,
Correct. That's
right? And it applies to healthcare as well. Ultimately, though, it passed, I want to say it was like 93 to 38, something
Oh,
like that.
it
So it really,
passed.
it
Yeah,
really
really
wasn't
passed.
that
Good.
close. Yeah.
I was supposed to, I see it sometimes on the videos. I'm supposed to get this eyelid lifted
Yep.
2 days before. Hello, I am canceling. And she knew exactly, she's laughing. I said, I didn't tell her this, but I said, I can't, I'm scared to death. But I have to check it out more. But every once in a while I can't even see, but that's okay. I got the other one. So I love this quote, and I wanted to talk to you about it. You were quoted in the media as saying, I will work collaboratively with fellow legislators to lessen the burden of high taxes, the high cost of development, that's the truth, and the alarming cost of education, especially in light of disappointing outcomes. Could we talk a little bit about each one of
Sure.
those? I know my favorite, but go ahead.
Well,
Taxes.
the taxes, in my opinion, really start with education. That's the way that we pay
Yep.
for education. And so until we get a hold of education and consolidate schools, and it's really, I believe, the administrators, you know, the superintendents and the principals, then we're always going to have a high cost of education.
Right.
You know, in the way that we do it now is that every school does their budget, and then it goes into one big pot.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah. So it'd be like, you know, 3 of us go out to dinner and, you know, you have the salad, I have the filet, and
Right.
my friend has the steak and lobster.
Right.
But we're going to split the bill. Well, yours was only $8, but,
Exactly.
but we're splitting it. So the problem with that is it doesn't give you the school districts or unions incentive to lower their budgets.
Right.
So we need to take a look at that. Hopefully this past bill on education is voluntary for them. There's these CISAs set up,
Right.
community education, and then there are some groups that are going to get together and try to see if they can voluntarily. I'm not hopeful, to be honest.
No,
You know,
I agree with you.
and I don't want to just close schools, but we have to do something to lower the cost of education.
I'm with Campaign for Vermont, and we did a
Yep.
big study, and it really is in the salaries of administration. I mean, that's where they stand out the most. But I think without consolidating, you're right, you can't. But my concern is, while everybody's consolidating and having gone through the last go-around, those meetings were slightly contentious, the kids are still not doing well.
Yeah.
And somehow or other, we've got to get those grades up. We used to be 5th, I think, in the nation, and now we're 35th or something beyond ridiculous,
Yeah.
given, like you said before, about how much we're the second, you said, in
Yeah, somewhere around there.
second in cost
Yeah.
per student.
And you know, and that is, we have X amount of students,
Right.
and you divide that by how much we spend. They do have this daily weighted student average where, if they come from,
Right.
a rural area or impoverished,
Yeah.
so they weight those. But if you're just looking at how many students we have versus how much we
Yeah,
spend.
we get impacted by our low population.
Yeah, exactly.
But those weighted factors, I did a couple of shows on them last year when I couldn't understand that for anything. I'm thinking, here you're sitting home in Berlin, Vermont, and somebody's gabbing about weighted factors. What is that?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like like you said, if you're poor, if you've got from a poverty area, and all, I don't understand it. Maybe good teaching would help. I'm just saying.
I don't think that the advent of social media has helped the kids either. There's studies coming out now that says that screen time really, the kids don't focus as well.
Right.
I'd have to take a little more deeper dive in order to really be a position on that, but it's something that I'm looking at.
Oh, that's good. Well, also, I think even during COVID, I don't know how well the teachers were taught, if ever, about how to teach over Zoom. That's a skill. You don't just get from your desk to look in a camera and teach a bunch of kids who are home. That's you got to keep them engaged, and how you do that is a real skill.
Yeah, and I think that test scores started going downhill.
Yeah, and to that I don't blame the teachers at all.
No,
they weren't offered the opportunity to learn.
If you saw any of the legislative committees on Zoom, they could have used some training as well.
Yes, they could have.
Yeah.
I almost yelled at John in the Senate. John.
Yeah.
He kept shuffling. He kept doing this to the papers right by the thing. So I kept texting John. Stop with the papers.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm very happy though that they have Zoom in the rooms, because what do you get, 10 people?
Yeah.
Now you see on my Zoom, I see 45, 50 people. Like that's great.
Yes, I agree with you.
That's great.
And that's what it should do, is give more access to the everyday Vermonter,
sure.
if they're interested.
Exactly.
And, some people are interested in other bills and have other issues.
Yep.
Cost of development. I think that was one of the other
yeah.
quotes. And so I'm also on the District 5.
Environment? Oh, no kidding. Good for you.
Act 250.
Better you than me.
Yeah, it's a fairly heavy lift. But the positive is that my goal is to make development as easy and as quick as possible within the guidelines of Act 250. I don't necessarily agree with everything in that, but nonetheless, that is the law, and so we need to abide by that. But we need to have some ideas on how we can shorten that time frame. Some of it is in the state government, getting the correct permits and stuff. And one of the things I want to look into is how much does it actually cost? These engineering studies and traffic studies. And so my goal is to say yes within the guidelines of Act 250.
Good.
Yeah.
When I was in Department of Ed, I brought in a lot of people talking about tech ed. And they were all construction people, and brought them in. And they said to me, we only want two things in order to build in Vermont: how much and how long. And they can't get it because Act 250 is, and this last 181 this year, what were they thinking?
Well,
that road it was ridiculous. Everybody's calling it the very bad name.
Yeah. Well, the positive there, though, is that the average Vermonter, got involved. There were 16,000 people in rural Vermont Rising.
Oh, great.
16,000.
Yeah, my friend belongs to that group.
And I've been to a few of the meetings, and I'm a member of it now as well. So that was a positive, and that was really what that shows, is that the average person gets involved, can get it done.
Well, sure, when it's in their backyard, they do.
I tell people to get in touch with your legislator, get in touch with your select board member, because that's how you make decisions.
Well, this bill, in particular, if you're a farmer, most farmers I know, my friends are farmers, she has 300 acres, and her plan for retirement was to sell off 20 acres, 10 acres, whatever, and that would give her the income that she could retire.
Yep.
And then this bill came along, and that woke everybody up.
Well, fortunately, we got rid of it.
I know, that's good. Did good.
Yes.
But it came close. I had so many phone calls, just people going just nuts.
I know.
Because all of their plans right out the window if
Yep.
that went through. And that, what is it, the road rule?
Yeah.
That was brilliant, whoever stayed up at night thinking that
Yeah,
one up.
exactly.
So-
And because it's not hard, people have long driveways.
Right, exactly. This is Vermont. So anyway, we have, and with that development is the housing, and that's
Yep.
that's a big issue. Unless we go to tiny houses, I honestly don't know how we're going to do this.
Part of that, in my opinion, okay, is that the difficulty of being a landlord has prevented a lot of properties being on rental markets.
Right.
Because it's so difficult to get a bad tenant
Yep.
out, right? And again, I don't want to throw anyone out in the middle of
No, but
January.
it's true.
But pay your rent,
Yeah,
right? Be a good tenant,
right.
okay?
The obvious things.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, right.
Things we were all
Pay
taught when we were
attention.
younger. So I think that's part of it, because people go, you know what, I'm just going to do the bread or Airbnb or
Right.
short-term rental, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of those have been off the market because of that.
That's interesting.
And a lot of the development now is not in the affordable housing. First-time home buyers can't afford a
No, right.
$450,000, $500,000 house, So we need to make sure that there is affordable housing. I know that there's multiple proposals for the Elks, the golf course there, Montpelier Elks golf course.
Right.
That was,
Yep, right.
and some of them do include in affordable housing.
Great.
Yeah. So we need to do something. It's kind of a catch-22. We need workers, right? But it's so expensive to move here,
Right.
and we don't have any housing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and our education isn't so great for those who want to bring their kids along just to
But
come
what
live
we
here.
do have is a good quality of life, Pat.
That's true.
Vermont is such a beautiful place,
It
and
is.
I tend to believe I'm an optimist. There's two things that I live by truly is I want to be happy wherever my feet are, and if this is the worst thing that happens to me today, it's still a pretty good day.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful here. I'll give you that. And when I first moved here, I moved into Bristol, and when I go, what am I doing here? Blah blah blah. I'd ride over to Route 7 and look at the water and the mountains on the other side and the rays of the sun coming
Yeah.
down. And okay.
That's why.
I'm going home now. Going home. I see. I noticed Marist College there in a question,
Yes.
so we'll go.
Yeah, no,
That's very interesting.
that's fine. I did go to school at Marist
Yeah.
in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Ah.
Great place.
Yeah.
And learned a lot there.
Poughkeepsie. IBM country, right?
IBM country.
Yeah, it used to be.
I started my golf career, actually. I was the junior golf director at IBM Country Club.
Oh, no
in
kidding.
Fishkill.
That's very
Yep.
nice. I have actually been there.
Yeah.
That's cool. I live down the stream in Tarrytown.
Yep.
So we talked a little bit about your golfing, but you also were in South America and the Caribbean when you talked about trying to become a...
Yeah.
That's an experience.
It was a lot of fun. And it gave me a chance to compete. But again, I found that, frankly, as good as I was, there were 50 local guys that were probably just as good as I was.
Probably if you just did
Yeah.
golf, maybe.
Maybe, but I was
we're glad
able
you're
to.
here.
I had started a company in New Jersey with a guy that I met. I was managing a health club. I originally went down to play professional softball, actually. So I moved
there's
to
a
Philly.
story.
Yeah, I moved to Philly. Just met a guy, and he said, "Hey, if you want to come down," and it wasn't a lot of money, but. So I moved to Jersey, started an alarm systems company.
I saw that in your thing. That's
David
cool.
Strong was the principal, but we were pretty much equal partners in
Very
it.
nice.
And it was wireless alarms when they were first coming out.
Oh, great.
So it was easy, not a lot of installation.
Yep.
We could buy them, you know, fairly inexpensive.
Where were you
and
in
so
New Jersey?
Cherry Hill, basically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I lived in New Jersey. I
Yeah.
was born in New Jersey.
I
so
like New Jersey.
My heart's, there's a lot of us here. One woman I knew from Bristol, she wanted to get all the people that were born and raised in New Jersey to come together for a party, because there's a lot of us here. But we just saw the light, you
Yep.
know, and moved up north. So your governor has been quoted as saying you have been involved in your community and common sense legislation. I said, good for you.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
We do need
Sometimes
comments.
it's so obvious. I'm sorry, maybe just
No,
to me, but
no.
sometimes you're like, is this hard? Why are you asking the question?
Well, so I think that people introduce too much legislation.
That's true.
Right? So that takes up the bandwidth of other things that we could focus on that would have more of an impact. So I say the common sense, you know, when I look at a bill, does it fulfill a need? Is there a need for this? Right? Is it going to make it more affordable? Is it going to be cheaper? Are we going to have better services? Is the lives of my constituents and the rest of the people in Vermont, is it going to make their life better?
Yep.
Right? And how are we going to pay for it?
It's free, David.
Which is one thing that not a lot of people ask.
Well, you know, all you're hearing on TV these days in Washington is a free this, or in New York, free bus, free this, free that. And I have, my tagline says, listen beyond the soundbite. And that means when somebody says free, you better start looking, because somebody's paying for that. And it's probably you and me, while they're having their free this and free that.
Yep.
Somebody's got to pay for it.
Yeah, I believe when it comes to legislation that sometimes less is more.
Good job. Well, you come from a very active town.
Yes.
Barre Town now.
Yes.
It's a fabulous town. I like Barre Town.
Yes. So I sit on the select board there as well.
Perfect.
And I didn't expect to run for the select board. I was in Killington for years as the general manager of Green Mountain National, and it's owned by the town of Killington, the only municipal golf course in the state. There won't be another one, I guarantee.
Yeah. And the select board had to manage it?
No, I managed it.
Oh.
The select board managed me.
Oh, I see.
Sort of. But the issue is the Killington, there's a lot going on, and it was very contentious. It got ugly at times. So I'm like, I do not want to be on the select board. But I volunteered for the budget committee and got appointed by the select board. They voted me in. And I saw how they operated, how Chris Violette, the town manager, operated, how all the department heads, you know, took the budget process. And I thought it was really well run.
Right.
And so...
Were you there when they were going to secede from Vermont?
No.
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
We told them we were going to start putting, what do you call it, when you drop the money in the coin, on either side.
Wishing,
So when you go out, you'd make up your property tax that way.
That was a mistake.
Yes, it was. They were serious, though.
Yeah. But I think it's an advantage to have a select board member who's also in the legislature.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
You know, because Tapa and Gina Galfetti, who was just awesome, by the way, who was my seatmate, they're right on top of the issues. But when I'm there in the select board, I know immediately if there's something that we're looking at, whether we can, deal with it at the state level, and things that are happening at the state level, how they're going to affect Barre Town and the portion of Williamstown that we also
And you
represent.
get, as a select board, you get great support from the League of Cities and Towns.
Yes.
Ted Brady is, he's one of my
He's a
favorite
star.
people.
I
Isn't
love
he?
Ted Brady. He's
He
solid.
can't get flopped, well, he got a little flopped about ethics, but that
Yeah.
was another story. But he's a wonderful guy and has had obviously all that experience in Washington.
Yes.
And he's just, I love him, he's great.
Yeah, he's got a good positive attitude.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a very strong organization.
Yep.
And I think you're being on it, it makes a lot of sense. Because you can go, whoop, hold on, stop a minute. So let me see here. So when your governor was saying I have I have about 5 or 6 things that you volunteered for in the community. and it goes on and on. Mostly with the PGA and Killington Pico Area Association.
Yeah, I was on the
And
Chamber
the
of Commerce
State
there.
Chamber.
State Chamber a little bit. The things that I'm still actively involved in. So my public service started when I was in Maine. I became a guardian ad litem, which is
Bless you.
court-appointed advocate for physically, sexually abused kids who...
We don't have nearly enough ad litems.
It really opened my eyes,
Yeah.
to be honest. And so the first year that I was in the Senate, I got appointed to a summer study committee on adverse childhood experiences with Ginny Lyons.
Oh, yes.
And what I didn't realize is that kids with 5 of the 10, and I think there's probably a few more, but let's call it 10, they have like a 20-year less life expectancy.
Really?
They are 5 times more likely to come up with cancer and these.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's tragic.
And one of the questions, we did a public hearing down in Brattleboro, and there was a nurse who had like 8 of the 10 ACEs. And she put herself through nursing school, has 2 kids, bought a house.
Wow.
And
Good for her.
she asked the group of panel, said, have any of you had any ACEs? Well, I looked at all the senators and everything. They just shut up. They didn't know how to answer. And I said, to be honest, I was born in single mother. My dad died when I was 5, 4 kids. We didn't have a lot of money. The difference, though, is that I was loved. And I truly
Probably
think
didn't
that,
even know the situation.
no, I didn't. It was hard. My mom was a bartender, and basically this is how she raised me. I'm not better than anybody. Nobody's better than me, right? Treat everybody with respect, especially older people. At work, work hard, right? Don't steal from anywhere. Certainly not work. If you work hard, you'll be paid well. And so even though my mom was a blue-collar, down-to-earth worker, she, I believe, set me up to be a good, positive person.
Good. And what was the age spread between you and your...
So I was 5. The oldest was 14.
Oh, wow.
My mom hadn't worked in 14 years.
Oh.
Didn't have a driver's license.
Oh, my. That poor 14-year-old probably grew up very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So, I was a latchkey kid before those latchkey kids. From the time I was probably 11 or 12, I could cook my own dinner, do laundry.
Good for you.
Do whatever I needed to do.
Yeah. Here you go. My daughter was a latchkey kid, too, so
yeah.
A lot of rules with that one.
Yes. And so now for other public service, so I do the Barre Town Bulk Trash Day.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, it's one of the greatest things I've ever seen, to be honest. That is in the spring and in the fall.
Yeah.
Barre Town residents, for a nominal fee, like $25 for a car, $35 for a pickup, whatever you have essentially, other than there's electronics and that kind of stuff. Mattresses, whatever you have, you can bring and dump them for $25, $30.
Oh my word, I love it.
And then we've got 40 people that volunteer, all shapes and sizes, ages. This past year we did get some younger people, which is good.
That's great. Yeah. Well, exactly.
So I've done that for the past few years. In addition to the...
And what do they call it, David?
Bulk Trash Day.
Oh, bulk. I thought you said ball.
Yeah.
Oh, bulk. That makes
Bulk.
sense. Bulk.
Yep.
Got it.
I'm also on, as I said, the Act 250 Environmental Commission, and I'm on the Judicial Nominating Board.
Oh, perfect. That's great.
So we interview lawyers who want to become judges.
Yep. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Because we are, and it's very, we don't say anything about the process.
Right.
And we just pass the names on to the governor, and the governor, if they're well
the
qualified.
when I was there, the legislature gets to vote, don't they? Or
Not on those.
On those.
They do on state's attorneys, not state's attorneys, excuse me, the Supreme Court justices.
Oh, okay, because I remember voting
Yeah.
after the committee
Yeah.
presented their name.
Yes, the Supreme
Oh.
Court justices. I think the judges too, but the judges are just, that's
Yeah, they're
kind of, they're
bunch of
good. But Supreme Courts,
Yeah,
they
that's
definitely do.
important.
Yep.
Yeah, great.
And the last one I'm on is the Mental Health Crisis Review Commission.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
if the police are involved, shooting, some serious incident where there's a mental health component, we do a deep dive report on how to prevent that.
Yeah. Well, I thought now, Tony Fakos, when he was chief of police in Montpelier, I just love Tony, so I would have him on the show tons of times because I was fascinated. When my husband was a retired trooper,
Yep.
captain in the state police. So, but they went through this Team 2, they called it,
Yes.
where if Tony went out, there was a social worker with them, and
Yep.
because he said they're expecting us to do things we're not trained for, and God forbid you do the wrong thing. You're not doing it intentionally. You're using a brain that's not so foggy, and you're thinking you're saying the right thing. And so he loved having the support from the social workers. But do they still do that, I hope?
They do. Team 2 is,
Yeah.
I think that they're getting rid of Team 2 and they're gonna have a different form of it.
Oh, because
Yeah.
that connection's really important.
Yes. Yeah.
It helps everybody, and especially the client or the person that's going through a bad time.
Yeah. And mental health is one of those issues that we don't talk about much, but it has such an impact on society with the homeless and the crime and the drug addiction, mental
And we
health
didn't
is.
talk about it much in COVID, and that was one of the worst things
Yep.
that happened. And I kept saying to my husband, I said, I bet you those numbers are going right through the roof, because
Agreed.
where do they go? What do they do? They can't go or do anything.
Yep.
It's bad. But I don't know who's in charge of Washington County Mental Health now, but Mary, oh no, that's Right to Life. Anyway,
Yep.
that's a wonderful organization.
I agree with you.
I was very involved with them. And I was in a lot of meetings with them and the police in Barre and Berlin, just to talk about how the heck you do that.
One of the things that I've talked about with some of my healthcare committee colleagues is mental health in schools. So there are some programs that are being put into effect, but we need to make sure that we get kids the help that they need early on.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, very quickly, I don't want to, I was up visiting a friend who's a guidance counselor at one of the schools up Northeast Kingdom, and I was visiting him, and this kid started kicking the teacher, right? So she signals something, and everybody kind of rushes, and the kid's just out of control, and they put him in the quiet room. And my eyes are like, caught in the headlights. And I said to him, what happens? He said, well, we put him on the bus, and he goes home, and he comes back from the same environment at home, comes back, and we go through it again. Because home was the problem for this poor child, and there was nothing they could do. And I thought, oh my God. To know every day you're sending them back to an environment that's maybe not so great.
Unfortunately, I think that home is one of the issues, holding our kids back.
Well, for
frankly.
sure.
We need parents to take the initiative and to be involved with the kids and to be good, loving parents. And not saying they don't, but I think that the parents, some parents anyway, could be more involved in their kids' education.
I'd like to see, I know Zoom Zoom is not the same thing as being there, but I would like to see Zoom in some of the, if they do have them, maybe in the education boardrooms and meetings, because I didn't have kids here in Vermont, but I did back home, and I'm sure they were sorry I had a kid in school, because I was there. And when I was running, I would attend some of the school board meetings, and there was nobody there. Nobody. Just me. And I thought, oh, this isn't good. people need to know what's going on.
I agree. People need to be engaged.
Yeah.
You know, both the school board, select board, and at the State House.
But, you know, it's hard. Both parents are working these days just
Yep.
to put food on the table, and
Oh.
they're probably tired when they get home. And
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. And teachers, they don't have a thankless job, but they've got a
Close to
very
it.
difficult job.
right, because we
You
keep
know,
asking more for them.
Well, you know, they have to be teachers, but they also have to be social workers and nurses and mental health counselors and, you know.
And then we keep changing how to teach on them every couple of years. When I was deputy to the Department of Ed for a couple of years, and every other day there was some new thing from, you know, No Child Left Behind, and there was, and everybody had to learn something new, and they never gave it time to see if it worked.
Yeah.
And I know they've got something going on now, but they're going to be changing things again, and I hope to just do it and leave it for a while, let everybody get used to it, and train the teachers there.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
I asked the principal one time, is there anything we can do at the state level that will help you? And they're like, less mandates. Hold off on the mandates. Because we give them these mandates, not knowing whether it's going to be effective or not. And then, you know, we in Montpelier think it's going to be good.
Right.
Whether it is or not is another question.
You know what I tried, and David, and since you're in the, I was in Education Committee in the House, and I asked, Janet Ansel was the chair, if the Secretary of Human Services and the then Commissioner of Education could get together and identify what work do teachers do that would really qualify for human services. Because we're paying for that in education. And if you took that out and put it where it belonged in the general fund, I think people would fall down, not understanding how much human services impacts schools in a cost thing. And then we would just be left with the cost of teaching. And I would wonder what that number, but they couldn't agree. It was a long summer for them. I felt bad that I started it, but they couldn't agree. But that's a good thing to think about. How much of it is human resources rather than reading, writing, arithmetic?
Well, they have to do, as we just discussed, a lot of different things, and that takes away from their job of being able to be educated.
Well, exactly. It's really terrible. So anyway, I was asking in my little notes here about when you came in sort of this time
after crossover.
After crossover, and there didn't leave you much time other than amendments on bills and stuff. But if you had time and stuff, what would have been your primary, like when you come back in September or January? Sorry, so September, January.
Yeah, January.
Because you have to get those bills in like the day after you get elected, pretty much.
Well, there's still some time.
Is there?
Yeah. I think that there isn't anything in particular. The chief of police called me with a point, and I think this is an example of unintended consequences. So there's now a law that about tinted windows being tinted to a certain degree, right? But as the chief thought that there should be a exclusion for law enforcement, and I had an open mind, but then in the reasoning is that they have, a lot of times they'll have juveniles in the car, bringing them to somewhere, and they shouldn't be exposed to the public that they're in the back of a police car. The other thing is he's got guns that, you know, and shouldn't be able to see that. Plus the equipment they have, the computers and the radar detectors and the radios can't take the heat.
If you think people are upset that that people some places wear masks, where do you hear if they can't see in the car? I understand what he's saying, but I'm not so sure.
I don't know. You know, it's something that I'm going to think about.
Think about.
You know,
maybe just the back windows for the kids. That I agree with somehow with the kids.
Yeah, well,
The guns, they shouldn't have them on their seats anyway, should they?
Oh, they're not on the seats. They're under the seats. Sometimes they're locked in the, in the front. But I'm going to think about it and see what the.
There's a lot of money in those
I hadn't
cars.
thought of that. Yeah.
Big bucks. Those computers, what they can do, they're amazing. They really are.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Not that I know.
So I'm going to look. It depends on what committee I get put on. If I get put on health care again, now, I want to start with, I am not in favor of universal health care, okay? We are too small, we just cannot do it, all right?
Good.
Universal primary care, we may be able to pull that off. And what I think that there's a return on investment, because if you find an issue now, as opposed to when it's in stage 4 cancer. Now all of a sudden it's going to cost a lot more money. And we passed a bill for that to look at universal primary care. And of course some of the left-leaning people are like, oh, well, you should just, and I'm like, no, we are not going past this. We cannot do it.
I think we learned our lesson with Shumlin. I mean, he even admitted it after a while that we just don't have the numbers.
No, we don't. And that's, frankly, that's an issue that is against a lot of initiatives that we want.
Well, that's true. And that's when we were talking about percentage, that we look the worst. But we look the worst because we've got one of the smaller populations. So when you divide it by whatever, it comes out worse than perhaps we are. But I think the primary makes a lot of sense. It's like Dr. Dinosaur.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Is fabulous. And it's got national attention. And if you train and teach young people how to eat and take care of yourself and exercise and blah, 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 and you catch it when they're young, that makes I like that.
Yes. So the summer study that I did ultimately came up with a bill with, co-sponsored a bill with Jenny Lyons. There's a program in Lamoille County that actually is still in existence. So that's 8 years later. It's called the Dulce program. And every child that's born in Lamoille County, a nurse, I believe, it may be a nurse practitioner, visits the mother and child in the hospital and then does a home visit.
Nice.
And so they can see whether there's an issue, right? Potential health outcome, a negative health outcome, and they get the resources that the family needs before it becomes. And again, I'm looking for a return on investment. I hate to use that term when it comes to people, but if we can spend, $10 now to save $100 down the road, then I think we should start.
But it's also better for the person too.
Yes, exactly. And
get them
ultimately,
thinking.
that's what we're trying to do, is improve the lives of Vermonters.
Exactly.
If I can do that in any small way.
I was involved for quite a few years with the Prevent Child Abuse Vermont. And it's a lot that has to be done out there. It's pretty scary.
Oh.
I just thought, oh, well, this is Vermont. Not.
No.
I just about, oh my gosh. But anyway, it was really amazing that they would visit people in the hospital and give them these books that had and then anything you needed to help was in that book. And that was a good resource. But to have a nurse, that's a perfect thing, I think.
I think we have enough money to help the people that truly need it, right? We're the most successful country on earth, okay? But I also think that we need to use that money wisely and make sure that we just don't allow people to not work and not contribute to society. Again, I'm not for just cutting everybody off, but I think that we need to have efficiency in government. We have to make sure people are capable, that we just don't make it easy to live.
There's a lot of room in state government.
Yes, there is.
But people are hanging on. They're maybe if they trusted more, but they're afraid to let go of the turf. And because they think, they're going out the door. But there's a lot of opportunity.
Yes, and if elected, I'm certainly going to see if we can be a little more efficient in state government.
That would be a good thing. Well, I was one of the first people on this group that they had. I forget the name of it. My sister's going to listen to this and yell at me. But they were looking at efficiencies. And my sister and I, my father was an efficiency expert. Well, it was tough growing up, but because he was always thinking about what's most efficient,
Yep.
you know. But it stuck with us. So when we do things, we just do it, cut to the chase and just do it.
Yep.
And sometimes you look at things in state government. Well, when I was at Motor Vehicles, we changed a 3-hour wait to 1.5 hours, and it was all from the employees. I sat in rooms with different groups and I said, tell me what you would do different. And so we did all of it, and we got maybe an hour at the most at the DMV when it used to be 3, sometimes more.
I agree with you.
If you listen to the people, they'll tell you.
Well, one of the things they do in Barre Town quickly is that when they're looking to buy big pieces of equipment, okay, that starts with the town manager, and Chris is solid, and then goes to the department head, and then he brings in the people, if they're demoing a piece of equipment, he brings in the people who are actually going to use that equipment.
There's a concept. Great.
You know,
speaking of common sense.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And
Good for
so
him.
I think that it works pretty effectively.
Yeah.
You know, this one might cost $20,000 more, but we're also going to be able to use it for this.
Yeah.
You know, the current equipment we have matches with that. You know, those kind of things.
Yep.
So
great.
I absolutely agree with you, and I think that we need to do more of that. You know, at a statewide level as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Hospitals is a classic example, you know.
Well, they're just dying with people. I won't tell you, I mean, I have a little issue I've been dealing with, so I called him and said, could I see the doctor? That would be October. And meanwhile,
Yeah.
I'm taking so much ibuprofen that someone else is going to go before I get to see the doctor. But there's nothing you can do.
Yes. So one of the issues that I was talking about with the universal primary care is we don't have enough primary care physicians.
Right.
So, you know, it sounds good in theory.
Yeah, but try to get out to the rural.
But now all of a sudden, you know,
Yeah.
if we funded it now, we don't have enough docs to take care of the people. But that's another issue.
But the PAs you mentioned,
Yep.
I think there's one in the practice that I go to, and I actually ask for her sometimes because
Yeah.
is she available? And I'll sign me up
Yep.
because I don't know why. Because doctors are great, but she just gets down to the
Yeah, and
know,
some of them just
nitty-gritty.
have their way that makes you feel comfortable.
Yep.
And no, I absolutely agree with you.
yeah. So anything they can do like that would
Yep.
be great. But you're right. We need housing and we need all kinds of things here.
We
I
do.
know, yeah, and we've got great hospitals here.
Yep.
I mean, Gifford and UVM and our little one here, I love it here.
No, I absolutely agree with you. We're fortunate in that way.
Yep, we are.
Because talented people, okay, like this way of life,
Yeah,
right? It's not inexpensive living here, you know, but it's a good quality of life.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about crime, but overall, crime's pretty low.
it is.
You know,
Really
it's
is.
pretty safe.
We had a little uptick in Berlin, and I did a show on it with our chief of police, and I was thinking about it. It was when I got home, because I come from New York.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, small.
Yeah,
Yeah, Chief
yes.
Pontrebriand
Yeah,
is,
that-
he's also on the Mental Health Crisis
he's
Review
wonderful.
Commission.
I
Yes,
really
he
enjoy
is.
him. I like him.
He's a pro.
Yeah, he's good. He's been around. So could you have some time? We have 4 minutes, David.
Yep.
I was wondering if you would like to just look at the folks and give them that what do they call it, elevator speech, where, you know, you said, you got 3 minutes, David. Why should we vote for you?
Yeah. I think that experience matters. And I have the experience in public service. I'm going to be able to hit the ground running, per se, and be an effective voice and a strong voice for not only our county and Williamstown, but also for the state of Vermont. I care. I will work hard. And I believe a good idea is a good idea. And I will work with progressives, Democrats, Republicans, far left, far right, to get the job done.
Good for you. You can clip that right out and put it on your website. That's really great. How do you plan, and have you before reached out to your constituents through email, through letters, through
Yes, so I am, I have a website,
Oh.
I'm on Facebook, and I'm actually there are 96 miles of road in Barre Town, Williamstown. I'm gonna walk 100 miles
Wow,
with door hangers and meet people. I'm calling it and Gina Galfetti's also gonna walk with me.
great,
So we're calling it the 100-mile walk and talk to listen and learn.
perfect.
Because just to see how they feel.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get just negative. Oh, I can't afford, to eat. Although that would be really negative. But more of what they also like about living in Barre
would be
Town and
good,
Williamstown.
Well, it really is a good area. I hope they
It's a
appreciate
beautiful
that.
area, and Barre Town's well run. So I know people appreciate it.
Well, I think if you and Gina can get that bond together, because they were used to Topper and Tom, and those two, I think, were attached at the hip, and,
Yep.
and they always talk the talk and walk the walk, and I think they expect that, and they're always, I mean, every time I've ever been to Tom's house, the phone's always rung.
Yeah,
They still call him.
yeah, and he's still involved. I call him.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Tom's just a wealth of knowledge.
he's
and
great.
Such a nice man who's
is.
devoted a
Well,
lot
I think
of.
they've been very fortunate and will continue to be. Do you have anybody running against you, or?
We do.
got a primary?
One is Melissa Bata, who's run 3 or 4 times, as unsuccessfully. I ran against her husband on the select board. And then Emily Wheeler Reynolds, who's on the Barre Union School Board. And, she'll put up a good campaign.
Yep.
But I'm going to work hard.
Good.
I think it's important. I think I can do a good job. So I'll make sure that I get elected.
Oh, good. We hope. I wish you luck.
Thank
That's
you very
really great.
much.
Thank you, David. It's a
Oh,
pleasure
thank
having
you,
you on.
Pat. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks you all for tuning in. This is Pat McDonald, your host for Vote for Vermont, where our tagline is listening beyond the soundbites. See you next week.